morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. 137. It's nice. Nice. We're just steadily going up. Even if we weren't, didn't really matter. It's just China played an absolutely dangerous game when it went to ban Bitcoin for the second time. First time didn't work out so well. This is a very dangerous game, and I'm very surprised that they pulled their showed their hand so early, because it's kind of like they're out of moves and they feel like they need to stop the bleeding. And there was an obvious systematic attack. I mean, all of this wasn't coincidence. This was a trying to just kill Bitcoin in one swoop, and it was kind of cute. It only made Bitcoin more pissed. Not too long ago, we were at $3,000 Bitcoin. After that horrible shitstorm and all the uncertainty, we're still at record highs. If you're talking about in the ballpark, right? $4,000 Bitcoin is absolutely massive from earlier this year. So the fact that they played this bigger risk, because the risk they took was they tried to kill Bitcoin and they didn't. And it just pissed Bitcoin off. And now a lot of the money, the big whales, are leaving China, going to Japan. And that's all you're going to see, because basically this is what's happening. The governments are systematically creating currency to systematically make you poor. It's not for the middle class at all, because if you had $1 million 100 years ago, that $1 million is worth a hell of a lot less today. And what does that mean? You may not feel it as much, but your kids. The governments are thinking long term. They don't want anyone to come up. They don't want any kind of family to be able to override and become too wealthy. That's the reason for it. That's the reason 60 years ago you can get a Coke for a penny and now you can't. That's not by accident. There's a reason. We're born into this economy where we have to play this game that this vicious war economy, and there's no winning, because even when you beat their shitty game and you make all the money, it's not going to be worth as much in 100 years, 200 years, if we're around that long. Your kids aren't going to benefit from it. And that's the long-term thinking, because a lot of people think in singular lives. They're thinking now, their life. They're not thinking about their kids and their kids' kids. This is why no one ever really gets up, and the people who have gotten up are the ones running shit. And that's the game. And there's always going to be, the reason Bitcoin is always going to survive is because you're going to always have your banksters' money, your government money, and you're always going to have the people that follow that and do the rules. But you're going to have a hell of a lot of people like me who will, I preach what I say. I've left the country. I used to live in the United States. I left it. I've lived in many other countries, and that was because my freedoms were taken away. And if a lot more people were like me, then pretty much everyone would just leave America, and they'd be like, holy shit, everyone's leaving. And that would be the facts, because no one would imagine if everyone just started leaving China. Why not? Why the fuck would you stay there? Why do you want to stay in the United States? Why do you want to stay in these countries that are corrupt and fucking taking all your freedoms away? You don't have to, guys. And if everyone started leaving, maybe they'd wake the fuck up and they'd be like, holy shit. Right? Because I guarantee you, if anyone was half as much like me, they wouldn't be in that fucking country. So you can call me a hypocrite. You can't call me a fucking hypocrite. I live what I preach. I don't live where I was born for a fucking reason. And I did it because they took poker away. You think if they try to take my rights, I don't care what the right is. There's no right in my mind that's greater than another right, because that's when you draw lines in the sand. You can't take any right away from me. I want all my rights. I want my fucking cake. I want my napkin. I want my knife. I want my fork. I want everything, because I deserve it. This is my life. You can't tell me to fucking stand on one foot and touch my nose and sing an anthem. I don't fucking want to do that, right? I want to have freedom, and I want to fight for those that I love, and I want to create as much value. And it's hard to create value when the country just bans technology. When they say, no, you can't do this, you're just banning a whole country from growth, from spiritual growth, from technological growth, from personal growth. You're taking away technologies, and you're letting places outside of your country, aka Japan, all these other places, are going to start rapidly going in front of you. And that's not fair to the citizens. Like, I know some people can't move, and they're just fucked. And there's, I understand when poker was taken away, not everyone could leave. I couldn't leave for 4 years because I had a personal issue. I couldn't leave. I had personal family emergencies. I don't like getting into that story. It's just, yeah, I mean, I understand what it's like. And I've been in purgatory, that hell, for a long time. And I know what it's like when you're stripped of your freedoms, when you're stripped of your values, and you're just sitting there and you just feel violated, because it's like, wow, did that really just happen? Did I really just wake up and my freedoms were just literally It's different. You hear about freedoms all the time, right? You know, your freedom of privacy is not right up in your face, so you don't always feel it. But you do feel it when they take away shit that you like. Right? If I guarantee you, if they all of a sudden said NFL is illegal in the United States, I guarantee you'd have fucking riots and people would be going absolutely crazy, not having that shit, right? But you know, if you say, oh well, we took your freedom of privacy, we can now tap all phones. You know what? There was nothing, barely any kind of upbringing. But God forbid you take away fucking NFL. The priorities are just absolutely crazy. But the reason Bitcoin is always going to be successful and always going to be because you're going to have a group of people like me, and there's a lot of people like me, and they're not going to use the government money because we like making money. We don't want a cap. I don't want Chinese money. I don't want United States money. I don't have to. Just because the government says you have to doesn't mean you have to. Last time I checked, they weren't God. You know, I didn't come out of their womb. Last time I checked, they're just like every other gangster out there that wants power and money. And, you know, that shit doesn't fear me. You know, that shit just makes me vicious. You're always going to have people who want Bitcoin because Bitcoin's worldwide. You know, you're going to have United States. All these people are going to try to clamp down, but it doesn't matter because I heard it. Somebody said it. Roger Ver, man, I just hate that he had like Bitcoin Core and Roger Ver had that falling out because I really got a lot of respect for the dude. And I was listening to one. I listen to everything he says. I watched all of his videos. Like that's the thing, man. Like I don't know. I'm open. Like I'm not trying to be a hater at all. Like the dude spits game. The dude's fucking a wizard with Bitcoin. He's very important. I understand, and I'm not going to dismiss what he says because he's pro something I'm not. But at the same time, I really appreciate what he said when they're talking about Bitcoin. He was talking about like it's a balloon, and you know, government can squeeze one side, and the air is just going to go and fill up in the other, and you can't stop it. You know, you can't stop no one can stop it. It's invisible. It's here. It's done. And the governments they're going to panic. They're going to freak out. Who wouldn't? What gangster monopoly wouldn't freak out and lash out and do everything they possibly could to protect themselves? That's the nature. That's the ego. That's how everything fights to survive. A piece of a plant will gladly grow over another plant, and its roots will eat it alive and kill anything in its path just so it can get the sun. Life is very vicious. And just because humans wear ties and suits and they smell good and comb their hair doesn't make them any less vicious deep down inside. It's a survival mechanism. When you're drowning, you will fight and claw and bite and scratch to get up because that's in you. That's not you doing that. That's the you doing that. That's your innate instinct doing that. That's what you would do regardless. You fight before you die. That's what happens because you don't want to die. And now you take that mentality and you give it to, there's no human alive that should have that kind of power that governments have. There might be 0.00000 infinite zeros and a 1 at the end of that bitch of the humans that could actually handle that amount of power and do it right. But dude, they have groups of humans. That's what it's like. It's impossible. It's an impossibility. It's like having fucking royal flush at the royal flush at the royal. How big the government is and how many people have so much power. There's just always going to be infinite amounts of corruption, and that's not how it has to be. The government doesn't have to be so layered. It's only layered because they're making themselves stronger. They buy bigger, shinier bombs, yet the bridges and everything else are crumbling. It's so blatant before our eyes. And I know a lot of people are action adverse. They just want everything to be all right. And sadly, it's not how it is, right? Like it's going to come to your doorstep, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, when they are or aren't at your doorstep, you're going to at least say, did I help? Did I try? Or did I just sit back and let this happen and not even give a damn? And Bitcoin is obviously the olive branch that we have that's literally saving us from just another 2,000 years of, if we last that long, obviously, of just a slave mentality because if Bitcoin was to become crushed and everyone just used decentralized money, the same thing's going to happen. They're going to have a coin. It's going to be inflation. It's going to be meant to be worth less in 100 years from now. It's going to be just like fiat. They're going to have all the control over it, and you're not going to be able to say anything. It's like working with a dev team that you could never get across from, and the dev team never wants to hear what you have in mind, and the dev team only wants what's bad for you. That's kind of how it is. It's just it's shitty, but at the same time, governments aren't meant to bring populations up. They're meant to keep them at bay, because if the population gets too powerful, it doesn't need a government. It becomes its own government. The government's to protect the weak, but if everyone was strong, who would need a government? Right? It's just, it's a few handful of men that called all the shots, and they drop all the bombs, and millions of people die because of a few men's poor decisions. And that's the world we live in. You know, hey, we wake up every day. I work out. I get on this mic and I talk, and I invest in what I believe in, and I'm passionate with my loved ones. But at the end of the day, that's the world we live in today. I'm not gonna hide from it. I don't care. It doesn't bother me, because I know I'm going to do everything in my power to make a difference, and that's it. At the end, like I said, I talk about I don't worry about what I can't control. There's just too much out there that I can control to worry about what I don't control, because that's focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, and the money blows. It's very important, because if you're focused on worry, if you're focused on what this is going to do, what that's going to do, what this is going to do. What I do when I get into Bitcoin, I already automatically think of the worst case scenario. I live in the worst case scenario all the time. In my world, every bank in the world has banned Bitcoin, and you're the worst son of a bitch in the world for holding Bitcoin in the public eye. I live in that world. I'm with the zombies in the apocalypse. I'm with the lows. Every day I wake up, I think every fucking goddamn government in the world has banned Bitcoin, and then I ask myself, am I still part of the team? Am I still holding Bitcoin? Am I going to fall? No, I'm still going to hold it. So that means if I wake up to the worst case scenario in Bitcoin and I'm okay with it, I can live the rest of my Bitcoin life without any fucking worry. I don't have to think about that anymore, because I already know. The answer is yes. So if the answer is yes, I'm not going to worry about what this dude's going to do or what that dude's going to do. I'm going to worry about what I'm going to do, what kind of awareness I'm going to spread. It is kind of like voting. Yeah, it doesn't, your one vote might not really matter at the end, but it does if you have every fucking person that thinks like you. That's the problem. It's every person that thinks like you, right? If everyone did that and voted, there's a hell of a lot more people out there that think like-minded like you are. Just got to get off your asses. Everyone has to do it. So you have to think in your mind, well, if I think my vote doesn't matter, what if everyone thinks that? You can't. You just have to eliminate that and just say, I have to do it. I have to do it, right? If you're on board for whatever cause, that's how I look at it. I don't have a safety net. I don't like safety nets. When I moved to Costa Rica, there was no safety net. You know, when I make these leaps in my life, there's no safety net. I don't want to be able to fall back on anything, because deep down, subconsciously, if you don't cut all the strings, if you don't go all in, if you know there's a little safety net, you're always going to pull back a little bit when you're not quite sure. Subconsciously, you're going to pull back when it gets really tough and you don't think you're going to make it. And there's going to be times where you think that's a losing cause and you wish you could go back. And those are the moments where you can't have the safety nets. The moments where you're like, fuck, what did I get myself into? What did I do? I want to go home. I want to get out of here. I'm not comfortable anymore. Those are the times where the safety nets will absolutely kill you. If you don't have a safety net, you turn around and you realize, well, I don't got a fucking shot. And it may not be the best shot in the world, but I'm going to go for it. And those are the only people that succeed in the greatest endeavors in life, are the people that don't have the safety net, that don't have the cushy fall back behind, well, if I mess up, it's okay. No, these are the people who jump in head first, no safety net, no nothing, go for it. They die swimming or they get to the other side. And that's life, and that's the most thrilling. Safety nets is like riding with training wheels your whole fucking life. Take the training wheels off. Don't be afraid to scrape a fucking knee, and realize how much funner it is when you don't have things holding you down. You don't have these structures, soft corners everywhere in life where you can't ever learn from your mistakes, therefore you can never grow. These paddy cushies. When I was a little fucking kid, it looked like a playground. It looked like a prison playground. You're talking about jungle gyms 10 feet off the motherfucking ground. You're talking about slides that'll burn your ass because it's Texas heat. You're talking about gravel when we fucking play tackle football. You know, that's where we learned. We learned what was high, and we learned what was hot, and we learned what was hard, and we learned where to not go, right? And we grew stronger. And then, you know, we would say, hey, well, you know, I fucking did this and it hurt, but guess what? It's still worth it, and I'll keep getting hurt, and I'll keep getting stronger. And these little scrapes and bruises, before you know it, I got stronger. I got more resilient. And that's how life has to be. You have to scrape yourself. You have to get hurt. You have to. If you're not, then what the hell are you doing? you can't learn if you never take the training wheels off. And you can't ever learn if you're afraid of falling off the bike. So that's a conundrum, right? Because you have to have both. You have to dislike having the training wheels enough to not fear falling off the bike and hurting yourself. So the fact that being caged, being restricted has to hurt you way more than the actual falling off the bike and hurting yourself. And it always is, guys. Looking back in your life and realizing you had a badass bike and you had training wheels on the entire time, and now you're too old to experience life on a bike without training wheels, that will haunt your soul till the last breath. That's when you wish you had a safety net. That's when you realize, oh, I've been laying in my safety net and I never actually got to be in the performance. That's when you start shaking on inside. That's when you start getting panicky. That's when people have strokes and heart attacks because they can't handle the life that they passed up. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to realize that you had training wheels on the entire time and that you never got the glory of going full speed, riding that bike as fast as you possibly can. Don't let fear discard your beliefs, guys. On a funny topic, Marino. I love Dan Marino. No, it's Monero. You guys know me, though. I fucking butcher everything. It's funny because I had listened to 3 hours on Monero with John McCaff, right? Because he says it right. I've heard millions of people said it. And, of course, Melendrex. For some reason, it takes him to message me. Although I got like 20 PMs, people are like, it's Monero, Dan, not Marino. I know you like Dan, but you need to calm down. And then, of course, Melendrex just wrecked me with the Dan Marino gifts. But yeah, usually after he's corrected me with Vitalik and a few others, but yeah, it's what I do, guys. I got a one-track mind. I'm thinking like 100 moves ahead. I'm not worried about the tie. I'm not worried about the shoes. I'm not worried about matching. I'm not worried about being politically correct. I'm not worried about being embarrassed, right? You know, sound like an ass saying Marino. And a lot of people might get embarrassed. Like I'm so far past all that shit that it doesn't matter. But it is funny because that one was like Dan Marino, and then he just absolutely wrecked me with the Marino gifts. I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. Let's just take a quick look at the market. You know, it's funny, man. I was doing a little old school Dan, a little old school D. What's old school D doing? I was going to the 24-hour supply, and I was like, damn, there's a lot more fucking coins than there were when I was doing this. It's been a while, and I was like, there's so many coins. I was like, holy shit. So I'm going down here at the low volume because there used to not be this many at all. Like. And I was just getting through it, and I was like, man, there is like 99. And that's the funny thing, because when you go and look at the car bubble, like with all the car makers, and then you go and you look at the internet boom with all the failed internet businesses, these are all the failed coins, guys. These are the failed coins. These are the ones, this is what's going to make... These are what people look back at, because 10 years from now, they're going to look back and be like, oh, the great cryptocurrency bubble, like it was the stock bubble, and only a few survived, the Bitcoin and the Ethereum. And then they're going to show a stupid list. Some fucking schmuck guy is going to think he's super smart, and he's going to take up every fucking cryptocurrency that was ever created and put it on a spreadsheet and see 99% of cryptocurrencies failed. And it's like, guys, like, come on, man. Like, Takeo coin. I'm not trying to hate on these coins, but I mean, come on. Like, state coin, like what is that? What's the fucking state coin? But that's just the point. It's like, man, this is the reason why 99% is gonna fail, because you got the pink dog coin and the Amiga coin. You got golf coin. You know what are you doing with golf coin, guys? It is one Satoshi, doesn't have a website. It's just straight up golf coin, right? I think they just wanted to take the name. It was like, just in case golf needs a coin, we'll be there. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of failed coins for that purpose. But the Rolls Royces, you know, the Lexus, the Mercedes Benzes, those are going to survive. And then you're going to have like your Ford trucks and your fucking Nissans and your Toyotas and all that good stuff. And then you're going to have a lot of bullshit that's not going to be here, and quite frankly shouldn't be here, because 95% of coins don't need a coin. Like, straight up, like, there's a lot of coins that don't need coins. So you got to make sure that it actually makes sense, because there's perfectly good technology. Like, you know, decentralized and blockchain doesn't need to be on every single thing. And that's what people are. They're just like, you're seeing all these ICOs, you're seeing all these coins, and they're just trying to get in on the blockchain hype. You know, blockchain is for it has very, very important reasons. You know, very good for information. You know, decentralizing information, privacy, all of this good stuff. Working around fiat laws when you have something like no limit coin or any kind of sports coin where you got heavy regulations and you're closed off, right? If you want to play poker in the United States, you can only play in New Jersey and Las Vegas, and they can't even play against each other. They can only play against their states. That means you don't have a lot of money. There's not, you know, the more people playing poker, the more money you can win. But there's not a lot of people, then you're not going to win a lot of money. And that's kind of how I look at Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin is going to be so wildly popular, because it's absolutely worldwide. It's got the hugest name. Everyone loves it that's used it. And I don't know what people are talking about. Bitcoin has been sending absolutely instant for me. Instantaneously. If you looked at my last tweet, I was testing my Ledger Nano, got me another one of those. I'm a fan of having, you know, I have 4 of those boys now, and I keep them, you know, locked up safe. But I'm a fan of getting multiple wallets. You want to have as many safe wallets as you possibly can. Armory's really good. Exodius is a nice hot wallet. And you know, hot wallet, that really means like where to keep your funds that you're going to be moving around. Like, you know, I run businesses, and I have to pay a lot of people. Like, you know, I pay like $20,000-$30,000 a month for my employees, the people working for me. So, you know, I need to have access to capital readily, and I'm always spending lots of money here and there. I mean, I just gave $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of no limit coin away for free the other day, just for some little trivial task. You know, I'll say, hey, you know, click on this, you know, like this or do, you know, whatever. I'm always trying to find ways to get no limit coin, and people, you know, I want people to feel involved. I want people to always have a reason to log into Slack, right? You don't want to miss out on making that coin. I like it, and plus, I got so many messages from people where they're like, this is my first cryptocurrency. I just saw, you know, the post. Somebody told me about it. One of my friends told me about it. Oh, thank you so much. Now, you know, I didn't realize what cryptocurrency was. So like in doing that, I brought some more people into cryptocurrency. And that's a beautiful thing about giving, you know, just give. It's not all about taking. It's more about giving, and you'd be so surprised at what you receive in return. And what you receive in return is not always money, man, because that's not what I'm about. You know, sometimes you'll receive love, sometimes you'll receive respect, awareness. Not even that. Sometimes, you know, you won't receive anything personal for you, but you'll just know that you brought somebody in and changing their lives. Because I think everyone should have the choice. I think every human being on this planet should be sat down, and you should sit there and explain what fiat currencies are and what cryptocurrencies are, the pros and the cons of each, and you should let each fucking human decide which they want to use before the Jamie Dimons fucking come out and call it a fraud and it's a demon coin and all these stupid governments. You know, no, why don't we just have a straight up awareness campaign and sit people down and see which one they would choose, right? That's all I'm asking. And we already know what would happen. You know, everyone would choose Bitcoin, everyone would choose cryptocurrencies. But that's the thing, they don't want to do that, obviously. So if I can get, you know, any kind of awareness, man, I'm just trying to spread this awareness, do what I possibly can. It's very important right now. I love the aspect of the community. I love being able to make money with other people, create value with other people, change lives together, right? My life, other people's lives, changing simultaneously, being able to actually work as a world. You don't understand how much cryptocurrency has brought this world together. I work with Russians, China, Koreans, people from all over. It doesn't matter where you're from, right? It only matters what kind of value you want to bring, what kind of human being you are, what you represent, right? And that's how it should be. And that's what cryptocurrency does. It brings everyone together, working on projects, trying to find better innovation. Yeah, we fight the scams together. We get through the scams together. You got the people who are really good at raising the scam awareness. And it's just a community unlike any other because it's untainted. There's no government controlling and pulling all the strings. It's people who are just coming together saying, hey, I can do this. He was like, I can do that. Well, this needs to be done in the world. Well, we need to fight this in the world. You know, fake news is a big deal. Well, we need to come up with a way to together as a community, as a world community, fight this so we can get the right news, the right information. Our data needs to be private. We need to be able to send value from one entity to another without needing a middleman, without having some kind of control system in place that tells me what I can send and when I can send it. Oh no, the bank is closed. You can't send your money today because, without the bank, you're worthless. Your money's not really yours, right? Because how is something really yours if you absolutely need something else to use it? That's very important. It's like if you need something, then it's not really yours. Then you don't really have control over it. But Bitcoin, I have 100% control over my Bitcoin. I own my private keys. I can send it to anyone, anytime, anywhere I want. Doesn't matter. It could be 11 p.m. on a Sunday. Does not matter. Rain, sleet, snow, instant transaction. I've been getting instant transactions on my last 20 Bitcoin sends. My last 20 been basically instant. Some of them were instant, like literally 1 second. So I mean, something's happening. Good shit's happening. It's not like it was. I remember I was waiting a few days. People complaining, probably sending to exchanges, and it's the exchanges ass, not the Bitcoin fault. So if I'm sending Bitcoin from a hot wallet to a ledger, or I'm sending from a hot wallet to another wallet where I'm paying somebody, and I've been asking my employees, how fast you getting this, and people instant. So just I'm just super excited. I love it. I love a competition. I love when there's some kind of evil in the world trying to bring good down. And I got I got my nice position over here on the good team and my 3-point stance ready to go. So I'm going to kill it there. Cheers. Peace.